Hi, this is Susan Grebe, and today we're going to visit Regina Litherland, a U.S. Army nurse around the time of World War II.
Today, I'm here with Regina Kaskey Litherland. Now, you went into the service,
Yes.
and you went into as a nurse,
Right.
and you were stationed in
Camp Wheeler in Georgia.
where you met your soon-to-be husband.
Husband. Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that courtship there.
In Camp Wheeler, we lived in barracks just like the men did, and I was assigned to barracks number 2. And while going one evening into the barracks, a young man called to me and he said, "Am I in the proper barracks?" And I said, "Which one are you looking for?" And he said, "Well, it was supposed to be number 2, but I'm confused. There's another building here." And I said, "Well, that's because the first building is the mess hall. That's not one of the barracks." "Oh, thank you." He said, that clears it. And one of the girls came by and said, "The telephone phone is calling for you." And I said, "Well, how may I help you?" And he said, "I'm new here and I want to get acquainted." He tried to make it a date at that time, and I said, "Right now my schedule is not very definite." But that didn't stop it. 2 days following, he called me and told me that he'd like to have me spend the evening with him. And one of the others who happened to be with me, who was having a date with one of the other soldiers, and she wanted me to go on a double date. So we did, and we had a wonderful time. We saw the movie and a very pleasant evening. But it didn't stop there. The day after that, he proposed to me practically because he was going to be sent out shortly from Camp Wheeler to somewhere on the Midwest in order to train an outfit that would be going over to Europe.
So he was persistent from the start.
From the first date.
And he had figured that this was the gal for me.
That's right.
You did finally say yes to him.
Yes, I finally did say yes.
Tell us a little bit about the time when he actually asked you and you said yes.
He had already been transferred out of the outfit I was in there, and he was getting ready to move to his new base. We went to the movies that night, a drive-in, which were the type of movies that you saw in that day.
Right.
So we went to the movies, enjoyed the picture, and we're heading out to go back to the base. And while there, the traffic was very dense, and the light was changing, and we were standing still. And he said, just to make conversation, he said, "Do you think that maybe you would marry me if I asked you?" And I said, "Yes." And he was very silent at that moment. He said, "Now what do I do?"
Because he had asked you several times, right?
He had asked me several times. The only thing is that Army nurses married were not allowed in the service. You were discharged with an honorable discharge. However, if you didn't marry an officer of your own rank, you would get a very bad one. I said I didn't have that. Ours did very well, and our marriage and all went beautifully. We were very happy together.
Now, you had an unusual engagement ring, too, didn't you?
Oh, yes. The second night that we had met, and we had gone base, there they had a movie, too, where they showed certain movies, and he remembered that someone told him it was a good movie there, and so he told me about it and said, "Let's go see it." So we went over to the theater, and it was just letting out. They had finished showing the picture. As we were walking along and going into the entrance, he looked down at the ground and found a little lock washer. It belonged to a Jeep, probably. And he put it on my finger, and he said, "This is my engagement ring." And I said, "Well, thank you." And it was all happiness from there on out.
You and your husband were married for how many years?
64.
64 years when he passed away.
We were meant for each other. We proved it. And the lock washer really worked.
Now, if you had to give advice to young couples getting married, what would you tell them would be the secret to keeping a long marriage like that?
It's easy. Just love each other. There's always a way to straighten things out.
Well, thank you very much for helping me out here.
Yeah, well, God bless everybody.